Brett Johnson. I work for I'm a systems engineer for a MSP. Now, what I want to present today is just a quick script that I've put together just to help general day-to-day maintenance at work. It's one of the things I like to do, is just create these little scripts that we can run autonomously and just help take the hands off issues and just get them resolved automatically. So the one today is for when you have a dedicated view pool with linked clones. So the purpose of this script is to identify any disabled accounts in your entitlement group, and with that it's going to check your entitlement group, and if there's a disabled account in there, it'll actually remove it from the desktop automatically and can also delete that Delta disk, returning the desktop back to its original state at compose. So this came from a client we had where they had a lot of internal segregation and there was a lot of account changes, so we had a lot of trouble keeping up with those accounts being disabled, temporary accounts, and it filled up all available desktop resources. So the script runs in two primary components. The first component is to check that entitlement group for disabled accounts and get the SEM account value and push that through to the second stage, which will then compare it to what's already assigned to desktops. So at the top of the script you can see there's the entitlement, the refresh. So this is, if you set this to anything that's not true, what it will do is it won't actually remove the Delta disk. So if you set it to true, it will remove the Delta disk for you and bring it back to original state. The next variable that you need to set is the pool. So this is the pool that you want to look for those assigned users. And the final one, the group, this is the entitlement group you're using. So the security group within AD that you use to actually check for disabled accounts. So as you can see, it's just a fairly straightforward for each loop. So for each group member, it's going to check their status, and for then each one that it finds with where their enabled status is false, it's going to go through and get their details. It then simply passes those details on to your view environment, and it will go through and check users in that entitlement group that you specified at the top of the script, and if they match, it will then remove their entitlement, and if you've set the option, it will also then go through and get rid of that Delta disk and again refresh it back to how it was. Now the second part of the script I need to give credit to Chris Wall for, because about 80% of that he did post on his Wall Network blog. I did try to get some more insight and feedback from Chris, but he's been a bit busy. I did ask 2D Chris Wall as my next best thing, but unfortunately his explanations did lack depth. So there are a few requirements for the script. The first one is that it needs to be run on the View connection server. This is so it can use the PS snap-in that View provides to actually be able to check that desktop pool. With that being the case, you do then need to make sure that you have your remote administration tools on the View connection server to be able to import the AD PowerShell module to do the first half of the script. If you don't have that, when you do import module Active Directory, it's just going to not work. It will get an error and the whole thing will fall apart. And then obviously, should go without saying, you need to make sure your execution policies are set up correctly, whether you remote sign and that, depending on your company policies. And obviously permissions within both Active Directory and View need to allow this to be run. Now, it can be run manually, so if you have a lot of accounts that you've been asked to disable, you can just kick it off manually and let it do its thing. Or you can set it, say, as a scheduled task and just run it once a week or whatever you like, just to keep it nice and clean. So I've made the script available on GitHub, and the link's available as per this slide. I'm on Twitter at BrettJohnson008, and I've got a small blog that I'm starting to build up, which is sdbrett.com. And that's it from me.